This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Boundary Park alert system in 2025. I'm Matt Dean and I'm joined this week not by the international playboy, London it boy, and just general, what is it? What would you call him? What general what? Lothario.
Yeah.
Andy Halliwell. We are instead joined by his understudy, my Latics football phone in sidekick, and all-round downgrade, sexy Dave Bradley. Hi, Dave. Happy New Year.
Envy is a sin, my friend. Envy is a sin.
Dave, what are you doing? You're playing on your phone.
I'm not.
You are. What are you doing? You're doing. You are. You're texting. You're texting.
I'm not.
You're not concentrating. Concentrate. This is why you're a downgrade on Andy.
Oh, for God's
Andy's
sake.
hyper-focused from the first second, especially if it was the first show of 2025.
Do you know that Andy does an ultramarathon before every pod, so he's like, the adrenaline is flowing through him.
He's unbelievable. You've been snowball fighting this morning, haven't you? So you're just a bit tired, aren't you?
No, I made every child on our street pay big time.
Cry.
The scythe of Bradley sawed down on all of them, and they all fell in the snow. It was like no man's land, you know, as they were go over the top.
Yeah, just bodies everywhere. You're absolutely slamming really icy snowballs into the sides of their heads.
Big time. And if anyone got me, then I just grabbed the head, shoved the face in the snow, then put the foot on them, and then when they tapped the ground, I'll let them up for a bit of a break.
Listen, they've got to learn, haven't they? They've got to learn. So, but let's belatedly wish Dave a happy birthday. It was your birthday on New Year's Eve, so I'm sure all the listeners would want to send you letters, cards, flowers, all that kind of stuff.
No, definitely not.
Wishing you many happy returns. So you're 39 now, aren't you? The big 4-0 next year.
Yeah.
So we'll bear that in mind. Dave's celebratory 40th podcast. So look forward to. Yeah. So no, Andy, just me and you. We're going to try and remember how to do this properly, so we don't get in trouble off Andy.
Yeah.
Because that does.
He has a strict marking regime, doesn't he?
He has a strict. Yeah, he'll tick us off and he'll tell us off if we don't do it properly. So the first thing we have to do is we have to ask the fan guests some questions, because we do have a fan guest, and the fan guest is a debutant. Never had this person on before. So let's start with that. So fan guest, if you could please, there you go, unmuted. Very on the ball this week's fan guest. It's looking forward to Latics Mind already. Can you recall your first Latics game, please, fan guest?
Yeah, first game was Shrewsbury Town at home in the 87-88 season. We drew 2-2. I was hanging on the fence at the front of the Chaddy end, and all the goals were scored at the opposite end of the ground because we were 2-0 down at half-time.
I have a sneaky feeling I was at that game, and it might have been one of my earlier games too, but I'm not sure because I don't have a very good memory. But I definitely remember being at home to Shrewsbury Town, one of my first games. So tell us who your first favourite player was then.
Oh, good question. We were kind of spoilt during that period, weren't we? So the likes of Richie, Palmer, I really liked Dennis Irwin as well until he became a Man United player. But yeah, I think first ones would be Palmer and Richie.
Yeah, definitely. And what's your favourite Latics related memory?
So I think during that period, there's all the obvious games. One of the ones I was thinking of as a favourite memory was, so I moved away. My family moved to the northeast of England at the end of 1990, so part way through our championship winning season,
timing,
Division 2, and there were a couple of games before that move. We played Oxford at home and Watford at home. We beat Oxford 3-0, I think, and I think we beat Watford 4-1. I think Redfern chipped David James from miles out.
Yeah, I remember that goal.
And those two games kind of stick in the memory because it was the point where I think I and a lot of other people realised we were better than everyone else in that division. We were miles ahead, and we were going to do something. So those two games kind of stick out as top memories, but they're not the obvious ones, obviously.
No, but it is nice to hear some alternative memories other than the obvious ones, because we all share those obvious memories, don't we? And so moving just potentially off the Latics, maybe it's related, but what's a little known fact about you?
Good question. So I think you mentioned on the pod a while ago that I was involved in When the Blues. But it's not that little known. A football related little known. So I missed some of the biggest games in Latics history because of the Strange Ways riot. My dad, after being made redundant as a printer, was a prison officer at Strange Ways. So obviously during the period of the Strange Ways riot, we played Man United twice in the FA Cup semi-final. And immediately after the riot ended, we played in the Littlewoods Cup final. So we missed all of those games.
Oh, no. That's annoying.
It was quite annoying as a 9-year-old.
Yeah, that's really bad. Oh, dear. That's a shame. Right, well, who are you?
Steve Dunkley.
Steve Dunkley of When the Blues fame. Tell us a little bit more about that. You just said you're involved in When the Blues.
Yeah,
which is a forum, Latics forum, for anyone who doesn't know.
Exactly. So I'm kind of, my involvement nowadays is pretty minimal. I think it is for all of us nowadays. It kind of runs itself. But yeah, it was Matt Thomas who started that. So Matt, as his username is on the forum, he's kind of the genius behind it all. So it started when the rivals. So the JK Latics site had gone onto the Rivals network, which was great initially because you could use a single login to access all the different clubs' forums and interact with fans of other clubs. But over the course of a couple of years, I think the functionality of that became so bad that it was barely usable. And so Matt kind of came up with the idea of starting something new. And at the time I was kind of out of work between things, and so I kind of offered to help out, and that was back in 2007, I think. So yeah, incredible that it's 17 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time, and it's pretty popular, isn't it? You have plenty of regular users on there, don't you?
Yeah, it's not as active as it used to be. I mean, we used to have thousands of users on a monthly basis.
Social media, I guess, is the
exactly.
That,
people were dragged away by that. Yeah. So Twitter especially. Yeah. I think there's a small sort of migration back.
Yeah.
With Twitter becoming the cesspit that it is these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, I mean, people know that where I stand on things politically, and I'm certainly no fan of Elon Musk, and I'm it's something I'm seriously considering taking us off Twitter or X as it is now, because I just hate it, and I hate him with a passion. So Dave probably loves him because we have opposite polar views on these things, don't we, Dave?
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. No. He's scum, subhuman scum.
Oh, you don't like him? Yeah, subhuman scum.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast, Steve.
Cheers, bud.
On behalf of all I don't use When the Blues, but on behalf of all those who do, thank you for providing a service for 17 years, which has allowed Latics fans to interact, because these things are important. And I'm expecting, as a result of this, your Latics knowledge to be very strong when we talk. No, I'm just setting you up. For
a mighty fall.
For either being brilliant or
to me every week. Don't worry about it.
One of the. But in terms of, I just wanted to, because we will talk about. Obviously, we've got a lot to get through. We've got to talk about the Josh Stones transfer affair. We've got to talk about our simmering rivalry with York City, which is bubbling up nicely. And obviously, we've got to go back to talk about the game at the week. We're all confused about the days. It wasn't the weekend, was it? Was it on Wednesday on New Year's Day? I just had a quick look at your. Speaking of X, and we are still currently on there. Your Twitter. And the last tweet you put out, I assume, was on Wednesday, and it says "fucking shocking defending" #OAFD. So presumably that sets us up nicely to talk about the Hartlepool game, correct?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that tweet was immediately after the second goal. I couldn't believe we didn't manage to clear that ball.
Now you're based in Scotland, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Does that mean you made it down the short trip down to Hartlepool?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours.
Yeah. Did you go down? Yeah.
Yeah, I did indeed.
So what did you make?
I'm directly behind, directly in line with Josh Lundstrom as he struck the ball in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
We must have been stood quite close to each other, actually.
All right.
I was like behind the top corner that it went in, so it was like
I was the opposite top corner, yeah.
Right, yeah. It was an absolute what a goal. The game itself, Steve, you didn't go, did you, Dave? Did you watch it though?
Oh, watched it, yeah.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
It were poor, weren't it? The interesting thing I took away from it was that when I chatted in the pub after the game, went into the Wetherspoons in Hart, £4.4p for 2 pints in the Wetherspoons in Hartlepool, which is
you know how to treat a lady, don't you?
I know, yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, I digress. But we got chatting to some lovely Hartlepool fans on the next table, and they thought that we'd play quite well. I was like, "What? We were bobbins." Does anybody else think that we thought that we played quite well, or were we just bobbins?
Crap.
Go on, Steve. You go first. I'm ready. I'm bubbling here.
You're like a coiled spring, aren't you, Dave? But go on, Steve.
No, I thought we were terrible. I thought for about 5 minutes before the goal, we looked like we were really coming into it. And then for about 5 or 10 minutes after the goal, we were sort of almost creating chances. The final ball was never quite right. And I thought there was a bit of me thinking, if we don't make something of this, we might well pay for it. And then for the 5 minutes before half time, they battered us. And I was relieved when the half time whistle came because I thought they were well on top. And I was hopeful that we'd come out looking better in the second half, and we were dreadful in the second half. We were absolutely clueless.
It was a collective day of underperforming, for sure. The lads in the pub were saying about, "Oh, who's that number 6? That Manny Monty, he's brilliant." I was like, "Yeah, but even he had an off day today."
He looked like he'd been heavily on the piss on New Year's Eve.
I thought collectively they just were not at the races. That's me being kind, Dave. Go for it.
We were fucking shit. We're awful. Absolutely rubbish. There was no pattern of play. The Josh Lundstrom goal was absolutely fantastic, but it was a pot shot. He hasn't done that all season. It could have gone anywhere, and it flew into the top corner. We didn't look in any form of attacking mode. We didn't press. We had Gardner in the middle with and I'm sorry, he's now past it. He's gone. He's an FC United player at best. He's not good enough. He was chasing shadows all game. Ogle has cut the mullet. The mullet magic is now gone. That is the reason. Why he's done that, I'm absolutely mortified by. Monte, as Steve just said, he looked like he'd been on the pitch. He just looked slow, sluggish. Raglan was playing with a limp. I know I appreciate with Conlon coming out of the team with injury, they needed someone to lead the team. Sutton has not put a foot wrong in the last few games, and taking him out, it was a big miss because that second goal was schoolboy defending. It was so poor. Even Hartlepool's first goal, I think Hudson should have done better at the front post because it just rolled underneath him where I saw it. You probably couldn't see it because it was the other end of the pitch, but if you look at the highlights, it just.
I thought he'd saved it initially, and then
he just let it roll in. But it's one of them things. The defending there was 3 at the back post, and if that Butterfield hadn't have scored it, someone else would have. It was so poor. They just looked out of sync, out of character. It looked like a pre-season friendly where they'd just been thrown in together. Kitchen went forward, then stopped. The only player I thought stood out for me was Caprice, but he was absolutely knackered by 60 minutes because he'd been running up and down that right wing, and he was putting balls in, but there was nobody getting on the end of him.
Well,
Josh the Traitor Stones got an early yellow card, so he had to be subbed. He knew exactly what he was doing, and we had no option but to bring on Fondop. Second half, we go direct, kicking into the wind, long ball, get it on the ground. But I appreciate the pitch weren't the best. But oh my God, the Josh Kerr coming on, you might as well have just played with 10 men. He was absolutely shockingly bad. He crossed the ball right, and it ended up going back towards the centre circle. How anyone can do that from the edge of the area, I do not know. But don't get me wrong, it was just bad. Charsley, Hammond, why weren't they playing instead of Gardner? A bit of energy in the midfield. Gardner was terrible. Klukas looked like he chucked it in as well. He was just walking around. No one was doing the dirty work for him. Nobody looked up for it. And considering that they've had a rest and had a training session not playing York, the energy that they showed was nigh on. It was nothing. It was just nothing. There was just no drive, no ambition. Norwood's head went down as soon as Fondop came on because they can't play together. It was poor all round. The only player I think came out with any credibility was Caprice because he didn't give up until he got subbed. He was trying to go up and down the line, but he was on his own and no one was in. Because Gardner was on that side with him, weren't offering him any support because he hadn't got the legs. So as much as Dan Gardner's been a good player for us and he's got a bit of issue with us, it's got to be time to say I can't do it anymore. Or he comes on for 10 minutes. He can't start a game, and that's my view. And some people might say that's me being overly critical, but that side, if they perform like that, aren't going anywhere. We aren't getting promoted with that side, and we desperately miss Conlon doing all the tidying up. He comes in for some criticism, but he was sorely missed in terms of leadership because I didn't see Raglan, getting the guys going. Because you see Conlon in a game, although he's not the best with his feet, and he's very predominantly left-footed. He's always one who puts his body on the line. And he's always the one who's giving people and directing play. We desperately miss that.
Steve?
Yeah, I was going to say about Caprice in the second half. You're right. He's bombing up and down that right wing, but we ignored him. We never played it down the right-hand side. We went down the left. We actually played long balls right to left throughout the second half. That was the thing that annoyed me most, was that, you can live with the idea that your team has an off day and loses a game. But my frustration was, one, that we kept playing that long ball right to left and it never worked because Hartlepool won every ball. And Caprice is bombing up and down the right, waiting for the ball to come, and it never does. And then the other thing that really frustrated me was that Mancini was given so much space. He was always going to be Hartlepool's danger man. He's a player who, but for his injury record, probably won't be playing at this level. And we gave him so much time on the ball. And early on in the game, I thought he looked a little bit clumsy, but I think he was given so much time that he grew in confidence over the course of the game. And then, he was the match winner in the end.
They did what we didn't do, and they did what a home side should do. They closed our players down. They won every second ball. Like, they were doing all that stuff. They were getting our second ball percentage was terrible. We weren't picking up the second balls, and we weren't battling hard enough to force them back. And in the first half, it was funny because in the first half we were playing against the wind. And it was really significant, the wind. We couldn't clear our lines. And bearing in mind that, like you said, all we were trying to do was oof it. The ball kept coming back at us all the time. And they put us under a lot of pressure. So I was like, we got a brilliant goal. That first goal from Lundstrom was a superb strike. And like you said, I thought we might push on after that first goal, but we faded. And I thought, okay, well, second half, we'll have the wind at our backs. The wind dropped in the second half.
It did,
I was looking at the corner flags, and the wind stopped. So it was evens second half, and but we didn't do what we needed to do. And I think like Raglan has been superb defensively this season, but his the problem with him is when he gets the ball, he does what you've described, Steve. The only ball he'll play is that long ball up to Kitchen, and Will Sutton, who wasn't playing, and Conlon, who wasn't playing. Conlon will come looking for that ball short a bit more and take it off him. And Sutton, when he gets to Sutton, he drives with it. He pushes us up the pitch, and he's not there. And I think that obviously Conlon's out for a few months now. You know, he could be out for the season. Really, I mean, that's the reality of it. You know, we're going to have to look at that, and Klukas is going to have to step up if he's, you know, as the level head and the person to make things tick over. Look, Mellon knows all this, and he knows the game, and he knows the squad better than we do. But I was surprised on Wednesday with the substitutions he made, because I thought Caprici, like you said, Dave, he was the threat. He was the outball down that side, and we didn't use the most of it. And Lundstrom was the only midfielder who looked like his touch was on point and had some energy. He was good. Dan Gardner, I would have taken him off at half time. He was on a yellow card, and he wasn't contributing to the game anywhere near enough.
Very lucky not to get
I think that Mellon was probably trying to keep him on for his set pieces, but set pieces were bloody awful.
Yeah,
so for me, I would have just dropped Lundstrom back alongside Klukas, and I would have brought probably would have put Kay on as a number 10, something like that. But I agree that I would have preferred to have had Charsley or Hammond in the midfield other than Dan Gardner. But he didn't have Charsley or Hammond on the bench, did he? I don't think.
I think Hammond on the bench.
Hammond was on the bench. I think Hammond was in the. I think they was training on the squad.
Right.
You know, they're in the part of the match day squad, but they hadn't made the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was part of the squad who travelled up.
So I was a bit surprised by that. We didn't create anywhere near enough chances, did we? And it was. Now I have to tell you, Steve. When I was driving, me and Harriet stayed up in Hartlepool. We stayed up on New Year's Day, just down the road in a hotel. Then we drove down the next day to Whitby. We spent the night in Whitby, and then we came back. But on the way back from Whitby, my phone was pinging up with messages constantly on the way back. Obviously, I wasn't checking it because I was driving, but I could see them coming through, and you could read the first line. It was in the Boundary Park Alert System group. And Dave was melting like the polar ice caps. I swear to God. Everything had catastrophized. All of a sudden, we weren't fifth in the league with games in hand. We hadn't only lost 3 games all season. We were suddenly imminently about to slide into mid-table obscurity, weren't we, Dave? Because you just lost the plot, hadn't you? Josh Stone's news was coming up, and the season's over, isn't it, Dave? So go on, tell us about your meltdown.
No,
what you fear.
I think I slightly overreacted, but it was just like I was just so disappointed. But when you look at it, when you actually look at it properly and logically rather than emotionally, he's gone to York for 350 grand and I think 3k a week. I think we offered 225k. That's what the rumours are, plus add-ons. So now, in the cold light of day, it shows that there is a budget to improve the squad there. So there is a few fans out there saying we can't compete with York. He's not a 350 grand player after he's played. How many games did he play for us? 11 games, scored 7. Don't get me wrong, we've got him fit and got him round to go, and he probably will do well for York. But like Elon, he's scum, subhuman scum, and I wish him all the best. But it does go to show that the board, limited the price.
So Dave, listen, Dave, I've not had a chance to talk to you about. So what was it? Was it Stones going to Hartlepool? Going to York, or was it the defeat to Hartlepool? Or
it was a bit of everything. I think how we lost the game against Hartlepool, the interview from Mellon, in my opinion, was just so nonchalant and going, "Oh well, it's what it is. Didn't do really well." But it was like, I would have been seething at that performance, but we've only lost 3 games, as you say, and he probably don't want to give the lads a kick up the backside because they've had a bad Boxing Day, not playing a game. And
I disagree with you, Dave, about but let's have a quick listen to it.
Yeah, let's listen
to it, and then we can discuss it. Yeah.
Mickey, clearly a very disappointing start to the new year. What was your take on the overall 90 minutes?
Yeah, just that, Alan. I think we knew what the conditions and the condition of the pitch, what type of game it was going to be. The situation that we're in, we spoke about it before. We just didn't, enough of the players that quite rightly have had so many plaudits recently, didn't perform for us today. I mean, they've been great up until now, but just didn't do the things that would have been necessary for us to get a result today. We after scoring an unbelievable first goal, when you go in front, you should really become favourites, really. But then we gave away a bit of a cheap goal from a free kick, from a poor decision from the players, not the referee, the players. And we gave away a goal from a set play. So we get at half time and we think, well, listen, we regroup and we go again. But again, we gave away a poor second goal. I mean, I know every manager up in the country was saying that, but we've usually been very, very clinical. So that's what I'm saying when I say that the players that have been quite rightly got their plaudits and absolutely deservedly so. Just today, for whatever reason, we just didn't do enough. And then with the ball, we kind of huffed and puffed, and but really didn't look like we had anybody really that could maybe open the door. We had a few bits. Mike has had a shot that the keepers made a save from, but all in all, yeah, a day that we're really disappointed about, because you've got to show the qualities that's necessary in any conditions to go and try and grind out some kind of result and show some kind of performance that the conditions asked for.
Can you put your finger on why we were missing that kind of spark this afternoon?
Listen, we just didn't find a way to make the impact that we needed from the players that have been good for us. The players just didn't find that way today. We're on the end of a really good run of league performances, so it's disappointing, was it, in that way.
Particularly disappointing. You mentioned Josh's goal. What particularly disappointing, given that it was on the back of scoring a goal of that manner?
Yeah, and then the amount of supporters that came to support us, I always acknowledge them and I always want to represent them. But today, like I say, our players that have been fantastic for us just didn't really get it going today. The decision making was poor at times, the quality was poor at times, and we didn't compete well enough. Either as at the top end of the pitch, we lost too many first contacts, and defensively we lost too many first contacts, and looked like we couldn't handle their front two, which is not like us, because the physicality everybody knows of the players that we have there, we would be expecting to do better, but today they just weren't able to do that.
First game without Tom Collins since his injury. How much of a miss was he, and what can you tell us about his injury?
No, I'm not going to start saying, because you have a squad of players, and that would be me then not showing the respect that the players deserve. If somebody comes in, then they're playing for Oldham, I expect performance from them. So if anybody comes in, and including the subs that go on, no, they're here to play, and they're paid by the football club to come and give performances. So no, absolutely no excuses. We just didn't turn up in the day enough.
What are you able to tell us about Tom's injury at this stage?
He'll be for a wee while. So it's going to be a wee while.
Today was the last game under Josh Stones as loan. How does that situation now look going forward?
Well, we've been trying to have conversations, and listen, he's Wigan's player, but he'll go back now. He'll go back to Wigan, and we will see what we can do, and just move on.
Finally, it's been a bit of a stop-start Christmas period, especially with the postponement last week, but obviously a double header now against Eastleigh. How important is it that we bounce back?
All the games are important now. Every game's important. there's no anyone more important than other. We have to have our good players turning up and showing the qualities that they've got and the plaudits that they've quite rightly received. And if they do that, then we'll give ourselves a good chance of beating anybody. But if they don't, and too many of them don't, then we'll lose games like we did today. But so it's quite simple.
Mickey Mellon sounded very disappointed. Yeah, I think he summed up a lot of the same things that we've covered on the podcast in terms of what the team didn't do, and it was a collective misfiring, really. But I think as a manager, I think like Dave was saying that he didn't think he sounded disappointed enough or whatever. But I think managers, like I think Mickey Mellon tries not to get too carried away when you win and too low when you lose, and I thought that was reasonably balanced. What about you?
I think he was probably choosing his words carefully. I think he's always managing the situation. So, he certainly manages his relationship with the fans in those interviews. But I think he's doing the same with the players. So, that he's not going to hang them out to dry, but I think he's probably thoroughly pissed off with that performance.
He didn't acknowledge the fans, though, did he? 800 sold out end or anything like that. He made no acknowledgement to, say that performance wasn't good enough for all the people travelling up on New Year's Day. I would have made
He did acknowledge the fans. I mean, it wasn't. He didn't overly. I mean, I think in terms of the fans, just for a second, Steve, the atmosphere was all right in the first half. It was very flat in the second, wasn't it? I mean, it was dead, wasn't it? Weird, really.
Yeah.
Can't blame him though, can you, with that sort of performance?
I think that was it. I think the performance kind of sucked the life out of that away end, didn't it?
Yeah, but we
did the same thing and it didn't work. We just kept doing it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we do have there are away games where the performance doesn't matter as such, and the atmosphere is continuous, but that wasn't one of them. I think it was. Look, I mean, I don't like
to have a plan B and a plan C, and just lumping the ball. It just didn't work, and there was no other way of trying to penetrate Hartlepool in any way. And that's what gets my goal, is that you've got to have two. You've got to have one or definitely two plans to try and get through and switch it up a bit. But there was just nothing. It was just like, it's just so frustrating. So frustrating.
I think that's become a feature of this team, though, is that they do have different ways of going about it usually this season. And they use the long ball sometimes, but it's not the only weapon that we've got, But the hilarious thing against Hartlepool was that the fans were screaming at them to play it on the floor in the late stages, and they started doing it about 2 minutes into injury time when they desperately needed an equaliser.
It was, look, I mean, we've been here before, haven't we? We got hammered by Aldershot, and then booked our ideas up. We got beat by Solihull, booked our ideas up. Look, it's not the end of the world, despite Dave's
I'm not saying it's
deep depression. But
just
I think before we come on to Stones, the problem, not the problem, but things have just got a little bit disjointed, haven't they? And it's not anybody's fault, but we were making good progress in the league. We had the FA Cup game. We got beaten that. We got beaten Stockton game, but nobody really cared. And then, we Wealdstone. We huffed and puffed, but we got the win. We beat Braintree pretty comfortably, but they're not much of a side. And then obviously the game on Boxing Day was called off when everybody was bang up for it. Where Josh Stones was still in the side at that point. We fancied ourselves off the back of two league wins, and then that game got postponed because of the fog. And then obviously the Hartlepool game was always going to be Josh Stones' last game, because clearly, even though what Mickey said there about having conversations, the deal was pretty much done with York by that stage, wasn't it? And you there, Dave, with your little conspiracy that he got a yellow card on purpose. I mean, technically he assisted Lundstrom's goal, but I think it's a bit far-fetched to say that was, it was just a flick on and a brilliant volley. But it sounds like
he just won a header. He won a header.
Yeah, he won a header.
It was a pop shot, and don't get me wrong, great shot, but he did. lunchtime cat like against Braintree, he couldn't score from 8 yards out because he didn't have the power shot. It's just one of those goals that anyone scores, at any point of the career. Do you know what I mean?
Anyway, Stones, he was always on. It seemingly he was always on his way to York. The rumor had been going around for a while. I think most of us didn't really want to believe that we've been getting a player fit to go to one of our promotion rivals. Steve? What do you make of like the whole situation with Josh Stones? It's like Wigan have kind of been putting him out to us to get fit. Have we accepted that he's been with us just to get fit, or do you think we thought we were most likely to sign him, and then York have kind of blindsided us with a better offer? What do you make of the whole thing?
I think so. There's obviously all sorts of views if you go on social media around this. I think we probably signed him with a view to getting him permanently. We clearly wanted him permanently in August, I think it was, and we couldn't do a deal then. And I think it seems like we pissed Wigan off to some extent, and no deal happened at all until a few months later. I think we then signed him on loan with a view that we would try and get him permanently in January. Obviously, his performances mean that there's attention from elsewhere. I don't think we brought him in thinking he was going to be on his way out and not come back in January. But even if that were the case, this whole outrage at the fact that we've got a player fit and now he's gone elsewhere. He did a good job during that period he was there, and we won almost every game he started. So, him and Norwood clearly worked well together. We got results during the period he was here. It's obviously disappointing he's gone. I would like him to be an Oldham player, on a permanent basis. But I can't get on board with the outrage at the club that we did that deal in the first place.
I think for me that I agree with all that. I mean, it was one of those. Obviously, tried to sign him. He's decided to go elsewhere because, like Dave said, he's a scumbag. That's the way you have to look at it, don't we? Look, I mean, I don't care. He's gone now. He used to play for us on loan. Okay, he was good and he scored a few goals, whatever. Now he's a York player. He'll be getting loads of shit off me when he comes to Boundary Park playing for York in a promotion battle. I don't care. He wasn't at the club long enough to be a hero, to be anything. He was just a young lad who came on loan. Now he's gone. Best of luck to him, blah, blah, blah. But I hope, that he scores no goals at York for the rest of the season. And he has an absolute shocker. And, Raglan absolutely puts one on him. All that stuff. I don't care. So the thing is, the club have set a valuation on him. Wigan have used it to up the price and all that, and his agents have been doing all that. Hopefully they've paid way over the odds for him. I think we, as a club, have a budget. We have you set a price. That's the limit. That's what we're prepared. That's it. And if somebody else offers him more and he wants to go there for that, then that's it. That's the way it goes. And we delve back into the loan market. We delve back into the transfer market, and we do something else. Or Dave, we bring back a striker who's on red hot form from Wealdstone and play him in the side. Very different player to Josh Stones, but I know what you're going to say, Dave. We'll get Steve's view on it, but is that part of the thinking, do you think, or what?
It's Reed will leave. Unfortunately, Mellon's not having him, and it's the manager's prerogative. But
surely he scored 12 goals in 14 games, is it, or something?
Last season, we desperately needed a striker, and we did the same thing, just outcast him for his behaviour.
We're in a different. Surely we're in a different situation now, though. I mean, he's coming in. He's coming in fit and on form.
Scored goals. He's on form. He's taken Wealdstone from second bottom to I think the fifth bottom now. With his goals, 11 in 12. All right, three of them were against Gosport Borough in the FA Cup. But you can only score what's in front of you. But I know I get called an Alex Reid fanboy. But at the end of the day, he scores goals. He was sent to Wealdstone to score goals. He scored 9 in 32 for us, which is not a bad return. Considering he was promptly used as a sub under Unsworth. The only people who started him were Redfern and Thompson, and he scored pretty much 4 in 5 when he was up front with Fondop in that little spell between Unsworth leaving and Mellon coming in. The guy scores goals. All right, he's not an aggressive sort of player, but he's a poacher and he can score some absolute pearlers as well. I think the fans have a mixed view on him. Some people think he should be in. Some people think that's it. He's gone, and he's no good. But I think the damage is done between him and Mellon. And if we can get some money from him, but don't sell him to Forest Green. Sell him to a struggling League Two club, for goodness sake. Do you know what I mean? But I think there's a rule in that he's played for Oldham and he's played for Wealdstone. I think he can sign for a league club, but I don't think he can. I don't think he can sign for a league club. He can only sign for another non-league club because you can only play for, I think it's two clubs a year under the FA ruling. You can't sign for 3 clubs and play. But I don't know how that comes into effect in the Football League. But I think that's why Stones went to York instead of a League Two club, because he played for Wigan and Oldham. You can't play for another league club, so he's going to go to a non-league club, I think.
Steve, what do you think about Alex Reid? Should he be used over the last half of the season for Latics, or should he be on his way?
I'm kind of agnostic on that. I'm quite happy to trust Mellon to a certain extent. I don't know what's gone on between Mellon and Reid. I can't believe that the way he's been ostracised is just related to that video last Christmas.
No, there's something else, but I won't say what it is.
Right.
Something serious, yeah.
Clearly, there's more to it than that. So, he scored goals at Wealdstone. He's never looked to me like the sort of striker who would be banging in the goals to fire to promotion. But we might well see when he goes to Forest Green. If Forest Green are willing to pay a fee for him, and that enables us to sign, a different target who will do a job for us, then I'm kind of okay with it. I can't get that animated. If Mellon wants to give him a chance, fair enough. If not, we'll see what we get.
I mean, Andy's been eulogising about how Mickey Mellon has, transformed the attitude of James Norwood, etc. Maybe this is part of what he's doing with Alex Reid. I don't know. I mean, when you look at the striking options, let's look at it from a purely footballing point of view. And Mickey Mellon said to us when we interviewed him at the start of the season, you've got to take emotion out of it. Well, when it comes to football, so let's take emotion out of it. Let's just say that we've got a striker who's in form and we need goals. We've just tried to sign a striker. He's gone to one of our promotion rivals. Do we really want to sell an informed striker to one of our promotion rivals and strengthen them again? It could be strengthen 2 main promotion rivals by giving them 2 of them. No, I mean, not that Josh Jones was asked to give, but you know what I mean. And so you've got the options up front are Fondop, right, who's the big, strong target man, who has been scoring goals, but you wouldn't say is, guaranteed to do the same again in the second half of the season. No, I mean, he's not guaranteed to replicate the goals he scored. Norwood, who is inconsistent with goals, he's not scoring enough goals. Garner, who's a bit part player, really comes in. Who else have we got as a striker? Is that our 3 striker options?
Sam Taylor.
Right, well, Sam Taylor came on the pitch against Hartlepool. Played out wide, looked more like a little sort of tricky winger rather than a. He's not a centre forward. So, I'm looking at that and thinking, so if you've got Fondop and Norwood up top, if you're going to bring, let's just say Norwood's having another abject game, gets to an hour in, I'd rather bring Norwood off and put Reid on as something a bit different than bring Fondop off and put Reid on and have, or try the 2 different combinations because Garner's always going to be somebody who comes in late in the game, try and sort of just, win fouls and,
Saying that though, when he played with Fondop last season, they scored 4 goals in 4 games, pair of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were flying.
We've not really seen those combinations, have we? We've not really seen like those different combinations this season. I mean, obviously, a lot of it is focused around Stones at a couple of points, but. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to do something, aren't we? We're going to have to do something striker-wise because we don't think, I mean...
But
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that comment. Oh, take the emotion out of it. Like I know, and I know it's like the old, like it's a bit of a cliche, but we as a club are a very emotional club because we have suffered drastically, and we've been drowning for so long and drowning, and that bit of air of success is we're absolutely desperate for it. So sometimes when we lose a game, we do catastrophize as a fan base because we've just seen it all before. The hope, and then then we get kneecapped and then kicked in the bollocks just for good measure. Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. We're so desperate, and we just need success. And I'm not talking National League Cup. I'm not having that. We need to go up and we need to get promoted. And we've got the chance now to go top with the games in hand that we had. You know what I mean? We have got that chance still. So please, board, if you're listening, we need to invest, which I think you're going to do anyway. But we just want to win games.
do.
Well, and it's.
But Andy put something out on X as saying that this collective PTSD that we've got, that we lose a game and we do catastrophize, and everybody, we lose Josh Stones, well, that's it, rather than looking at the fact that I've even had, I think people still referring about Dean Hutchins on Twitter was saying going back, mourning about the fact that we're still spending money on players like Nuttall and things with Unsworth and blah blah blah. Yeah, we made mistakes in the past, but they're in the past, and that we've moved on. Since Mellon's come in, the signings have been much better. We've got a manager that we all have faith in. All right, he'll do things, like the substitutions at the weekend that were sometimes a bit questionable. But on the grand scheme of things, we all know that he knows way better than we do, and we know that he knows what he's doing. And unfortunately, we're up against the team now. York are the new bloody Wrexham and Notts County and of this division. They've got money and they're spending it, and Forest Green have got money and they're prepared to spend it. So it's a challenge. I would rather that our board of directors, because let's not, Darren Rawls' name gets thrown around as somebody to blame for things when things go wrong. The board of directors, the club, all those who are collectively responsible for the budget and spending it, because it's not down to one person, have to be sensible. And I want them to be sensible. I do not want them to put the club into financial difficulties and 3 years into the new reign of the new ownership. They've had to steady. They have to remember that this is our third season under the new ownership, and they are desperate to get out of this division, and they will give as much money and as much support to Mickey Mellon as they can to do that. But the whole problem in football financially is the keeping up with the Joneses, isn't it? It's trying to outspend each other and live outside your means. That's why Gary Neville pisses me off, and Salford pissed me off. They're talking about, Gary Neville on one was talking about the game when he's a big part of the problem, like a little club like Salford who were completely unsustainable based on their crowds, their history, and their advertising revenues and all this kind of stuff, propped up by these people who are prepared to make these losses, and so that's where we're at in football. We want to compete as a club, but we cannot overstretch ourselves. They have to get everything else in place, all the other business and revenue streams that support the club, rather than throwing money at someone like Josh Stones and overspending. People might look and say, we've overspent on such and such in the past. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But the club has to learn, and it has to, learn by its mistakes. And so this season, I've already said it, we have to be prepared for disappointment. That's not me saying I don't think we'll go up or I don't think we'll win the league, because there's a lot of football to be played yet. It'll be interesting to see who we sign, but we have to be prepared for the disappointment of not going up, because it might happen. We also can be prepared, thankfully, because of the position we're in, to look forward to promotion. So we don't know at this stage. What we do know, York don't know if they're going to go up. York might spend this 350 on Josh Stones. They might buy other players. They might not go up. They might finish second. They might lose in the playoffs. They might win the league. We might win the league. Barnet might win the league. Forest Green might. We don't know, right? So let's just. There's a long way to go. what we do know is that we've probably got the best man in position in terms of his experience for the second half of the season. And we've got some massive games to look forward to. And I'm just going to go into them games now. Looking into January, absolutely buzzing for these big games. And I hope that we strengthen, because I do think that we do need to strengthen. Conlon is a miss, but let's hope that Charsley can step up. Let's hope that Hammond can step up. They've shown in previous games that they do have something about them. So let's hope that that's the case. I think unfortunately we've got the likes of Khan and Kay who haven't stepped up this season, but we don't look at other squads in the same way that we look at our squads. They'll have similar players who haven't stepped up and all that, and we're in a great position. I don't think that losing to Hartlepool has changed anything. I don't think that losing Stones has changed anything. We've done really well without Stones this season as well. So, I put Hartlepool result down to be one of those games, one of those days. And we play at Eastleigh on Tuesday. And, we just need to go there and beat them. Or is it Saturday, sorry? Is it Saturday then? Yes.
Tuesday.
It's this Tuesday and then Saturday, isn't
Saturday,
it? Yeah. So we've got Eastleigh on Tuesday. We have to go out and beat them. Then we have to beat them again on Saturday. And take it from there. So it does make me laugh. the like Andy said, the collective PTSD that we do have within some of the fan base. Nothing's changed. We're fifth in the table. We've got games in hand. We've got a good squad of players. We've got a good manager. It is what it is. We move on to the next game. If we go on a bad run and we start dropping, fair enough. But we're not gone on a bad run. We still haven't got those 5 green fucking ticks on that on the Google
you keep
thing.
mentioning it. That's why.
It's nothing to do with that. It's not me.
That's
It's
the
not me.
time.
No, but I didn't even mention it beforehand. I just wanted to see it. But yeah, we haven't got them. So look, if I said it before, last time we lost, I think we'd won 4 games. If we win 4 games, then lose a game, that's pretty good going. That is pretty good going. So, we've just got to go out now and beat Eastleigh twice. Then we've got Fylde, then we've got Aldershot. That is 4 winnable games. They'll be tough, but they're 4 winnable games. And then we'll see where we lie in the table after that. So I think that's me done on that. Steve, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, I think people will always get carried away, and Latics fans, we're not going to take the news about Stones well. I think in terms of our striker options, we clearly need somebody else to come in. The big thing for me will be how that affects Norwood, because he's a temperamental player and he obviously likes playing with Stones. As soon as Fondop came on against York, I thought, we're not going to see much from Norwood now, because he clearly doesn't like playing with Fondop up front. And so I think it'll be interesting to see who we can bring in and whether he hits it off with Norwood, because I think that will probably be key to our chances of promotion. My brother-in-law, who's a Newcastle fan, came to the Hartlepool game, and he said after about an hour,
I'm going home.
he didn't know. He persevered, but he said all Norwood does is piss and moan at his teammates. He's done nothing else, and that's the risk with Norwood. Is occasionally you'll get the fully firing version that you see alongside Josh Stones, and then the rest of the time you get the temperamental version who just pisses and moans and berates his teammates. So
yeah, we certainly do need more from him the second.
Matt always Matt's the temperamental.
I'm the temperamental one. What are you talking about? The thing is, with David going to catastrophizing, and I was like, well, the thing is, he's always wrong, so it doesn't. I'm not worried about that.
I'm always wrong
with the big stuff, like, because you're not always wrong, but like in terms of the
2 examples. Mickey, we're going to play Tranmere away in the FA Cup next round. Don't really care. Who do we get? Tranmere.
That's called a lucky guess. But
No,
like you know,
but-
when we were on the phone, we're definitely staying up. We're definitely staying up. We got relegated, and then we first season in the National League. Well, yeah, we're definitely going to get promoted, and we finished 12th. So I mean, those kind of things, like the longer term prediction stuff. So I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about the club going into meltdown at this stage, like Dave was the other day. But he has calmed down a bit now, bless him.
It's hot new merch, sexy merch. It's hot new merch. It's sexy, sexy, sexy merch.
Visit weareoldham.co.uk/shop now to see our brand new range of hot, sexy merch.
It's hot new merch, sexy merch. It's hot new merch. It's sexy, sexy, sexy merch.
Right. Good luck, Steve. I hope you smash this out of the park. Which striker scored twice in a 3-3 draw at Gillingham in October 2015?
Keeler Dunn.
Incorrect. It was Michael Higdon, who scored a hat-trick at home to Wolves in the 1982-83 season.
Taylor.
No, it was Roger Wilde. Which Latics manager also managed Motherwell?
Steve Robinson.
Correct. At Fleetwood in January 2015, which fullback handed a Latics fan his pie back, which the fan had dropped while celebrating a goal?
Connor Brown.
Correct. Which defender sealed a 2-0 win versus champions-elect Leeds in February 1992?
Ooh. 92. Jobson.
Incorrect. It was Andy Barlow. 5-1 has been Latics' biggest win in the National League so far at Dorking and against who else?
Yeovil.
Incorrect. It was at home to Aldershot. Between 1986 and 1990, how many League Cup games did Latics play against Leeds United?
3.
It was 7.
Bloody hell.
Who scored a penalty for Latics at Main Road in their 2-1 win in March 99?
Sorry, can you repeat that one, Matt?
Yeah, who scored a penalty for Latics at Main Road in their 2-1 win in March 1999?
Pass. Don't know.
Which striker scored his only league goal for the club at Swindon in January 1990?
Only goal. Bloody hell. 1990.
Oh,
No, pass.
All right. So I think you got 2 there, did you?
I think so.
Yeah. 2.
Yeah. So you got Steve Robinson and you got Connor Brown.
Yeah.
But you passed on that final question, which was Dave. Have you any idea which striker scored his only league goal for the club at Swindon in January 1990?
Was it David? Oh, I can't remember. No, Phil Starbuck.
No, it was Scott McGarvey.
Oh,
If you remember Scott McGarvey.
I do.
I remember being at this game. Who scored a penalty for Latics at Main Road in their 2-1 win against City in League One in 99?
Paul Reed.
It was Paul Reed, Dave. Well done. I wouldn't have got that though, even though, like I said, I was at the game. Yeah.
You wore a white number 11 shirt, long sleeved. Lovely match worn.
Yeah, I was never getting that one.
No.
Who scored the other goal?
I don't know. I can't remember.
A friend of the phone-in, captain of the club.
Duxbury.
Whee! Yeah, it's like a pea roller, like a pea roller header. He looks like, yeah.
I do remember I'd had a very, very heavy night out the night before.
I was very, very drunk.
Yeah, so I was there. But yeah, those were the days, eh? Beating Man City in League One.
Oh, don't.
And now look at us, Steve.
I know.
Losing to Hartlepool
Eastleigh on
in the
Tuesday.
National League. I got a text before from my mate Mick. I'll give him a shout out. Mick Goody. He's going to his first Latics game. He lives in Cyprus, by the way, so he's not exactly able to get to many games. But he's going to his first Latics game since 2001. He said he's going to Eastleigh on Tuesday. So glamour.
I've got a shout out as well. I went Christmas shopping with my daughter, and my daughter was like, "God, it's so embarrassing that you do the podcast. Oh, you just think you're so famous." And we're in Pizza Express, and this family came in, and they were like, "Are you Sexy Dave off the podcast?" I was like, "Yeah." So Arabella and Josh, they do listen to the podcast. They wanted a shout out for the York game, but lo and behold, it didn't happen. So Happy New Year, Arabella and Josh, and their favourite player is Josh Stones. So good call, guys. I think Josh's favourite player was Norwood. So yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
Steve, have you got any shout outs?
Yeah, go on. I've got one. A shout out for my son Joe, who's 17, was at the game at Hartlepool and decided to go for a piss just as Josh Lundgren struck the ball. You can actually see him on the way to the toilets in the clip of the goal. And he sort of misses the goal, turns round, and then looks thoroughly pissed off and storms off.
Yeah, that's a bad timing. Goal of the season missed. Yeah. Never mind. So, right, let's. My prediction at the beginning of the season was Latics to finish 5th. We've been 5th for weeks now, but it's because of the games in hand. It's a bit of a false position. It's good because we lost on it the other day, but teams behind us haven't been able to catch us because there's a bit of distance. So I still think we can finish higher than this. I still think the league title is going to be a big ask because we've seen the intent of some of the other teams around us. But Steve, what were you feeling at the beginning of the season and halfway through? How are you feeling now?
I was sort of quiet about predictions at the beginning of the season, but I thought we should be looking at top 3. I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't be challenging for the top 3. I think it's bold to say you should win the division, for anybody to say that this division stuff. But I think now, reflecting on it now, the thing that concerns me slightly is how sort of relentless the likes of York and Forest Green are in terms of picking up results, even when they're crap. They're often behind and get late goals and take all the points.
Can I just say that aren't we like that? Aren't we relentless? Isn't our form just as good? Current form, like you take the games in hand out, our form's just as good. Forest Green have only lost 3 games, I think, same as us, or 2 or 3 games, and same as York. Isn't our form? I feel like we're sort of like our fans haven't quite some of our fans haven't quite acknowledged just how good our form has been this season.
Yeah, and I think that's valid. We're clearly up with the pace. The thing is that Hartlepool was a decent example in that, we were 2-1 down with plenty of time left, but we never really looked like getting back into it. And I suppose it's about challenging the squad to show that they can pull out results when they're in those kind of situations. And I don't think they've been there that many times. Obviously, Wealdstone, they came back and won. But it'll be interesting to see. And I think we're at a pretty pivotal time in the season in that we clearly need signings. I think Wigan have done us a favour by selling Stones early on in the transfer window, so we're not messing about through January trying to get him again, so we can concentrate on other targets. But I think signings are going to be key, I think. But predictions now, I think I would go for 4th or 5th, probably. Right. I'd be amazed if we didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, I think we will. I mean, unless Dave's catastrophic meltdown prediction happens, I think we'll be good for the playoffs.
Eighth.
Didn't you start off the season with
11th.
predicting us finishing 11th, Dave?
Yeah. So it's 8th.
You think we've improved slightly? We'll finish 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm worried about the goalkeeping situation as well, because if Hudson goes or signs a pre-contract agreement, Norman's gone. We've only got Maloney. So, again, that's another worry, which we didn't cover today. But
yeah,
it'll all come out in the wash in January, won't it? We'll see where we are.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention Clucas and his situation.
Oh, don't even get me wound up again. Don't. Oh.
Well, we'll see. We don't know, do we? A lot of it's like it's let's get a little bit philosophical. Let's bring a bit of Andy Zen in, right? Hey. You can there's only the present, right? So worrying about things that have happened in the past and worrying about things that happen in the future, it's futile, right? All we have is here and now, right?
You're listening to Guru Matt Dean on the meditation.
Relax. Everything is fine. Everything is as it's meant to be, right? Relax. That reminds me of I am one and one with the Force, Rogue One. Yeah. It's Clucas is with us now. We're all good. We've got a good manager. It's fine. We'll see what happens in the future. Okay. So the phone-in, Dave. Have we decided are we going to move the phone-in to Thursdays?
Yeah.
In 2025.
2025.
Is that a plan? So this week we've got a game on Tuesday, but we won't be talking about Wednesday. We'll be doing it on Thursday. Is that right? I think because too many people are watching football on Wednesdays and not joining in, and we need callers. If people don't watch and call, it's not a phone in, and then people moan about the same callers. So we're going to have to try and mix it up a bit.
So Steve, if you want to phone in, it'd be great. So yeah.
So Thursdays 8:30. That's the new time for the phone in. Because at the minute it's just with the football, there's more Champions League games than before, isn't there? They're starting earlier this year and all that. So, for some reason, Dave, people seem to want to watch, top European football rather than talk to me and you. I mean, I don't understand that. That's just crazy. But
society is crumbling, and it's
crumbling, isn't it, around us?
Down to Elon. That's what it is.
Elon's fault. Yeah. Elon, give us a call on the Latics football phone in. Yeah.
Right versus left.
You should try and get the York chairman on.
Yeah.
Sure,
Dave, we should try and get our own football manager on, Dave. Mickey Mellon. Dave,
he won't come on.
Get some guests on this year.
We'll I've sorted, don't worry.
Yeah.
If anyone wants any guests, then tweet the We Are Oldham Twitter page, X page.
Or send us an email on our website, weareoldham.co.uk, info@weareoldham.co.uk. Steve, if people don't know about Owen the Blues forum, where can they find it?
owtb.co.uk. It's been there a long time. I think most fans are aware of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But, we might as well give it a plug while we're here.
Yeah, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Right, thanks for joining in, Steve.
No, thanks for having me, boys.
It's been good to talk to you.
Mate. Really good to talk to you, mate, and really good points.
Thanks very much.
Predictions for Eastleigh Tuesday, anyone?
I think we'll beat them. 1-0, I'd go for.
They started the season quite well, didn't they? Eastleigh, they're currently in 12th. They've drawn 3 and won 2 of the last 5. So I think that this season, when we've lost, we've reacted, haven't we, quite well. So I'm expecting.
If it's on because of the snow's due to keep falling. Yeah,
true. So it's going to be a right backlog, isn't there? Again.
Well, Halifax won't be playing till April, will they? They'll have a game Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
They'll have to relocate again. Yeah.
And, do you know what?
Rochdale as well.
I was talking to someone about this, right? And I think there should be a league rule that if a team has more than 8 home games postponed, then there should be deducted points at the end of the season, because all it is going to gain an advantage for a team at home towards the end of the season when it's like Rochdale. They're in a prime position now, aren't they, to games called like fog, you can't really blame because it's not due to the pitch. But if it's due to bad pitch conditions, there should be deducted points. I think if it's more than 5 or 6 games at home, because it just works in the advantage of the other team. It happened to Blackpool when they were in the just outside the playoffs. When we met them in the league, they had about 12 games called off. No, not 12. I think it was about 7. but it helped because they played Saturday, Tuesday at home, and they got all the points because they went on a good run. I think there should be some sort of docking system or some sort of deduction because
Yeah. Well, Dave, just write to the FA and put that in, or whoever.
I am the FA.
Right. Okay. Any more? Anything else? Any more? Anyone for anything else? No. Okay. Right. Well, 2025 has begun. This is the first podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with the football phone-in on Thursday. That's Thursday. Oldham are better without that Yorkshire traitor, Josh Stones. He can do one. We're going to give him loads of shit on the 21st. We're on our way. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Hey Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage?
Ooh.
What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk. Oh.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave a
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/weareoldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Ooh. Thank you, listeners.